Coutinho!
Alright guys, and welcome back to On The Bench LFC. In today's video I want to cover a couple of topics. There's players linked with Liverpool again, different names, and there's also a few things that have been said by Klopp, Gerrard, and basically I just wanted to get your views on how we should take what's being said at the moment. I think there's a lot of things that says we've got more transfers coming and a lot of other things that are saying that basically our transfer business could be done. So let's just have a look at a couple of things that I've seen today myself. One of the players that's linked with Liverpool, I think his name is Hakim Ziyech, pronounced that way anyway, I'm not too sure about that one, but he's a young lad from Ajax. He's mainly used as a left winger, I believe. I think he's 24 years in age. It's quite a good prospect. To me, I think he's maybe what Liverpool are looking at if Coutinho was to go to Barcelona or to any other club, but obviously the main link is with Barcelona. I definitely feel that if we're to sign this player, it might be bad news for us. Depends on how quick we sign him. I mean, is he an out-and-out replacement for Coutinho if he goes, or is he a bonus signing really? I think from a few comments that I wanted to touch on as well that Klopp made, I don't know whether we're necessarily looking at a midfielder, and this young Ajax player seems to be more of a winger, definitely more of an attacking player. A lot of rave reviews over last season from what I've looked up and seen so far. He's left-footed. I've said a few times to a few people when I've had discussions that I feel that Liverpool need to add a bit more left-footed players into the squad. I think it just balances out the team a bit. Obviously Mo Salah, left-footed. My opinion on him, I've only watched some clips on YouTube, like most of you probably have. He strikes me as a sort of player that's in between Coutinho and Mahrez, that's at Leicester. I don't know, I think the Mahrez thing when I was watching clips is probably because he's left-footed. He's got some skill about him. He can definitely create chances for other players as well. In my previous video I touched on there's no one really out there that can do what Coutinho does for us. I definitely don't think he's going to replace what Coutinho does, but looking at some of his clips, he does like to play through balls, which I was talking about. Coutinho is the only one that really does that in our team at the moment, more than the other players for definite. But from what I've seen, this player, he likes to play that way. He's quite pacey, he's got skill. Finishing looks okay. Is he up there with Coutinho's standard? No. Could he be? Maybe. I feel like looking at some of the clips, I feel like I was watching maybe like a younger Coutinho but a left-footed version, if that makes sense. Like, I feel he's probably a year behind, a season and a half behind in development to Coutinho, but then saying that, he's not playing in the Premier League, which obviously that's a major factor. I think the Premier League is the toughest league to play in, especially for small players with fragile like builds. But I think this player's 6 foot, so he is bigger than like your Coutinho's. Maybe that's something that Klopp's looking at, is not just having a player that's got the skill, but I think he's been trying to bring in some bigger players. Yeah, I think we definitely need that. If I look at a lot of the other teams, I think there's a lot of players in those teams that haven't just got skill, but they've got size as well. Premier League's very demanding, very physical, especially against the so-called smaller teams in the league. I think Liverpool struggled against them maybe because of the strength. Whereas I was thinking this morning about, actually Liverpool could now probably field a team that are more bigger powerhouses if we do play against the bigger, stronger, more physical teams. I think you could throw like Grujic and Emre Can in midfield for starters, two big lads. Obviously if you really wanted to, another idea that I thought of was maybe using young Gomez as a holding midfield player. He's got pace so that he can get back. He also likes to play on the ball, looking at how he's been playing in pre-season. So I think maybe putting him in that holding midfield position. I don't think you've got much creativity in that midfield, but I'm just saying if we was to play against a team like how Stoke used to play against us and against most teams, they just throw the big lumps in there, and Liverpool definitely struggled against that. But then if we could maybe mix that team up a bit with like flair players in there, like you've got your Mane, Salah, Coutinho, if you still had a couple of them on. I mean, even when I was thinking about that, I thought to myself that I wonder how Origi and Solanke would play up front together as well. If you wanted to go with three at the back maybe, and then two strikers, you could always throw Origi and Solanke towards the later of the game if teams are sitting back. Both good in the air. Solanke's definitely proven himself good in the air at the moment, but Origi's scored some good headers in the past for me, and he's quite a physical player, and I think this season he's really got to come on. I think like stats wise as well, like he was well thought after like when we signed him, and I think he's really got to nail down more of a fight for the starting 11. If he doesn't do that this season, I think he'll be out the door by next season. That's my opinion, but who knows. Klopp come out the other day in one of his press conferences and said that basically we've got new signings already in Moreno. He said Moreno had a tough season last year and he's 100% back now. Does that mean that Moreno is going to be staying at Liverpool? The way I take that is maybe Klopp has looked at him and maybe had a little discussion with him and said, look, the way you're playing, fight for your spot in the team and it's yours, you know. I think when he's on his game and on his day, Moreno is up there with the best left backs in the Premier League. You might disagree, and obviously he has let us down in the past, but if he could be consistent and play at the level that he has done in some of the games where he's really shone, then I think we've got a really good left back there, especially how Klopp's teams like to play. They're more attackive than they are defensive, and obviously everyone knows that Moreno's better at going forwards than he is tracking back. But with the lad's pace, if he learns how to get back in and he doesn't give away silly tackles, he would be a really good left back for us. Obviously we've got other options there, but that was another thing that Klopp stated, that not only have we got a new signing in Moreno now with how he's playing, but that frees up James Milner to play in his favourite position, which is midfield. I don't know how happy I am on that. Milner's a brilliant player, but I think really we should sign another centre mid. Milner does a job, but he's not up there with some of the names that we've been linked with to play in midfield. I mean, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, I'd like to see him come in. Because Milner's now been freed up from the left back position, does that mean that we're not in for people like Chamberlain? Does that mean that if all of a sudden Keita was to become available, would Klopp go, you know what, don't need him, I've got James Milner? And like I say, I definitely think Rumours is going to feature more this season. I think Klopp wants to progress him and wants to use him. He signed him and he's shown that he's confident on the ball and has got a good knack or good eye for goal, as you can say. I think so. Klopp definitely wants to use him more in midfield as well. So we have got numbers in midfield, but just looking at, I've read a few comments on some of the other YouTubers talking about Lallana being out now, and to be honest, how much that affects Liverpool over the next few months that he's out just goes to show for me that we should be signing another midfielder, and I don't think freeing up James Milner from the left back position is a major boost for us. I really think we need to get another midfielder, because is Milner going to do what Lallana does? No, in my opinion he's not. What do you guys think? Do you think that obviously James Milner can fill in Lallana's boots? I'm not too sure, guys. I'd like to know what you think on it. This was interesting as well. Stephen Gerrard, he said that he thinks that Klopp's got a couple of things up his sleeve. Whether that's to do with transfers, I don't know, but he said we've got 3 weeks left, and that's a long time in football. And I do agree. In the transfer window. Obviously, on the last day, or you guys that love to watch a last day of the transfer window, you know that a lot can happen on that one day. Of good news with the Coutinho thing at the moment was also something that I saw was Dembele from Dortmund. Barcelona have been linked with him. I think from what I read, Dortmund, they've got the same stance as what we have over Coutinho, really. They're saying he's not for sale, but it's a good sign that Barcelona are now approaching other players or being linked with other players, whether that's a tactic like some teams do and they're trying to force the move for Coutinho to happen. I'm not too sure. I think, to be honest, Dembele, quality player, but in my opinion, I feel like he's more of a right winger, and obviously they've got Messi in that position. Neymar was a left winger. I feel that they probably want Coutinho more than what they want Dembele, but if they have had talks with Liverpool and Liverpool have said no chance, on your fucking bike, then that may be why they're linked with Dembele now. So fingers crossed on that one. Okay, so that's it for today then, guys. Remember to leave me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the content. Subscribe. I'm going to be doing daily content. I'd love to meet a lot more of you, fellow Liverpool supporters. You never walk alone.
Coutinho!